Welcome back to FD Sport, welcome back to Silverstone, and welcome to Formula 1 qualifying for the British Grand Prix. Tomorrow it gets underway in half an hour's time. We've already had action on track this morning with the sprint race. Just about 3 hours and a half ago, it finished about 3 hours ago, and Kimi Antonelli, spoiler alert, was the winner, beating Lewis Hamilton after overtaking him around about lap 9-8 in the race. But let's quickly, before we get into qualifying build up, let's quickly reminisce on the sprint, because we spoke we heard from the podium top three. Let's quickly tell you what the championship standings look like since that. Kimi Antonelli extended his lead over George Russell to 43 points with his sprint win. Hamilton is only 4 points away from Russell now. He's in third. Norris 4th, and then Leclerc only 2 points away from him in 5th, and then 1 point to Piastri, then 6th to Verstappen, and then it's a bit more to Hadjar, Gasly, and then Lawson. But George Russell was speaking after finishing 4th in the sprint. He said the end of lap 1 was pretty cool, overtaking 2 cars in 2 corners. Then with the energy battle, it's quite difficult. Qualifying, I think, is key. If I was a couple of places higher, it would have been a different race. If I could have held on to P3 after lap 1, I would have comfortably finished P3. For sure, some of the opponents have moved forward a little bit, but on race pace, we still have a little edge. Max Verstappen speaking after finishing 6th in the sprint, he said just too slow. We were degging more than the cars around me, and especially getting destroyed in the high speed. Just couldn't keep with them. Then sliding more to try and keep up with them, and then you deg your tyres more. Also, Lando Norris, speaking after finishing 3rd in the sprint, said, I was managing quite a lot, so I'm very happy today, a very good result. Always nice to do it at Silverstone, a pleasant surprise, a good launch, good opening lap, and some good battles with both George and Max. Well fought and better than I was expecting. It wasn't like the pace was crazy strong because these guys checked out and disappeared, but the fact I could hold on and not make any mistakes was good, so very happy with today. Lawson and Hadjar both headed to the racing bull driver of Lawson being accused of an alleged abnormal change of direction. 8th place in the final point of the sprint, which Lawson kept because the stewards just decided to give him a formal warning. This is what it said. The stewards explained the driver of car 30, Lawson, stated that at the relevant time he was still at full throttle and had not yet commenced braking, and that the movement of the car was part of deceleration and preparation for the corner rather than a movement under braking. The driver of car 6, Hadjar, stated that the move by car 30 was sharp, but also that sufficient room was left and that contact was avoided. In his view, the incident did not merit a penalty. He also referred to the fact that the two cars were on different energy levels, which made the closing speed difficult to judge. The stewards accept that this was not a case of significant change of direction after the braking phase had clearly commenced, and also accept that car 30 left sufficient room for car 6 to ensure that no contact occurred. The stewards also accept that the different energy states of the two cars made the closing speed into the corner more difficult for the driver of car 30 to assess. However, the stewards considered that the defensive move by car 30 was sufficiently late and abrupt that it warranted a formal caution. Although the stewards were not satisfied that the circumstances justified a stronger penalty, they considered that the move was marginally over the limit of what is acceptable when defending into a corner. So basically, Lawson went back from the stewards after that, and of course only got the formal warning. Hamilton was also speaking after the sprint, after finishing 2nd. He said they have won everything so far, pretty much. They have not. That's not changed, and we still have work to do. I gave it absolutely everything and squeezed as much as I could without the car on the straight, is where we lost it. And then McLaren team principal Andrea spoke after Lando Norris expressed frustration with being asked to fuel save. He said, we needed to compromise the pace a bit because we were managing fuel, and Lando gave us a good reminder because it's the 2nd time in a row we asked the driver to manage fuel. This is not good enough. We need to do better as a team, but Lando compensated for this in a brilliant way. So let's quickly tell you the full results, and these are now confirmed, official now. Kimi Antonelli won the sprint after Hamilton started on pole. He overtook him, so Hamilton 2nd, Norris 3rd after fuel saving, Russell 4th after losing some positions on the opening lap but regaining them, but still not where he wanted to finish. Leclerc 5th. Verstappen was caught out in a fight. Was it his fault, really? No. But was there any contact? Was there any mistake? No. So he finished 6th. Piastri 7th. Lawson 8th after he's able to keep that 8th place. Hadjar finished 9th. Lindblad 10th. Gasly and Colapinto, the two Alpines, 11th and 12th. Hulkenberg and Bortoletto 13th and 14th. He's literally Noah's Ark towards the bottom of this. Behrman a knock on the two Hasses, 15th and 16th, 17th and 18th for the Williams of Sainz and Albon, and then it gets a bit mixed up. The first Cadillac of Bottas finishing 19th, then it's the two Aston Martins of Alonso and Stroll in 20th and 21st, and then last finished Perez. There was contact between Alonso and Perez, which meant Perez had to pit. And both Stroll and Perez got lapped, which is something you don't want to see. And they've got to say Alonso was close to it as well, 91 seconds off the leader. So you've got to say this is going to be a tough race for those guys because we only did 17 laps. Yes, there was contact. Yes, there was a bit of argy-bargy between the two of them. But you've got to argue that that's 17 laps. We've got 52 when it comes to tomorrow's race at 3 p.m. So honestly, let's just see what happens, and we'll see how many laps they go down. But nevertheless, qualifying is what we focus on first. That gets underway at 4 p.m, which is about 23 minutes away. But Kimi, Antonelli, Hamilton about to resume this battle. What do we think is going to happen? Because personally, you look at it, Hamilton got pole for the sprint, but then you have to argue Kimi Antonelli won the sprint. But you look before that, practice, when they were doing all the qualifying simulations, Lewis Hamilton finished fastest. So on Friday, perfect. Practice, top. SQ1, SQ2, SQ3, top. When it came to the sprint today, he finished second best, but it wasn't that bad because that's still a good 7 points on the board, and now he's only a few off Russell. But when it comes to it in the end, what's going to happen tomorrow? Because whatever happens today, we're going to get another 52 laps to decide the winner. Whatever happens today, we are still going to get a race tomorrow, and positions can change just like they did in today's sprint. Yes, it'll be a bit more conservative. They'll be saving fuels, they'll be saving tyres, because around this track, because the temperature is going to be hot tomorrow, they are going to be saving tyres. Because think back to 2021 when the tyres were blowing out on everyone. You've got to think back to that, and you've got to realise something can happen. There's another 52 laps tomorrow, so whatever happens is not the end of the story. Yes, say if a British driver got pole, the crowd would be happy. They would be very looking forward to the race tomorrow, and the headlines tonight would be all about them. But it depends on who's going to be on the back page or the front page, whatever is more important after the race tomorrow. It depends who's going to be there after potentially, probably, winning the British Grand Prix. But we don't know yet. We will know in about 24 hours' time or so, a bit more than that. But it's going to be an interesting day or so here at Silverstone. We are about 21 minutes away from qualifying. And this one's going to be different to SQ1, spring qualifying, sorry, because the format is different. And this is what they were saying after the sprint qualifying. We saw the drivers, they had to be on mediums for SQ1 and SQ2. But when it comes to qualifying, you can be on whatever tyres you want. So SQ1, you can be on softs, you can be on mediums. If you really want to, you can be on hards, but you'd save them for the race tomorrow. But again, it's free tyre choice for qualifying. So keep an eye on that. But it also depends on what drivers used in the sprint this morning, because we had a few cars. I know the Aston Martins definitely did this with both of their cars. Used the soft tyres, which means they have one set less for the weekend. So keep an eye on that. But it's whether the Aston Martins actually make it through SQ1, because they haven't really made it through SQ1 at all this season. I don't even think Aston Martin have made it through SQ1 this season, but because they took that risk in the sprint by taking, it's not really a risk, let's be honest, they finished near the bottom of the order, but by choosing not to save those soft tyres, they were able to just run the mediums for, well, save the mediums, which everyone else ran on, but because they didn't use the softs, they have one less set of softs to use in qualifying, which could be at their disadvantage, say if they actually do progress out of SQ1 and further, but that would, let's be honest, that would need miracles for this current Aston Martin car, which is heavily undeveloped and far behind on development. So it's be interesting to see what they do as a result of that. There was a few other cars that used soft tyres, but we'll find out about that when we get to them. They were all really down the grid. I believe Lawson also did use soft tyres, but again, it depends whether you progress. But we know that Racing Bull can progress as well, because Liam Lawson sprint qualifying, he did make it through at the end of the day. So you never know. Could they do it again? Because that Racing Bull does look like it has decent pace around this track. It does look like it has decent pace. The Alpines, they were probably above Racing Bulls going into this weekend. There's definitely been a switch there, because if you look at where they finished in sprint, look at where they finished in sprint qualifying yesterday, maybe even look at practice, the Racing Bulls have been ahead all weekend long. So just look at that and keep an eye on that. We are 18 minutes away from qualifying for the Grand Prix tomorrow. We're going to take a quick break. When we do come back, we'll talk a bit more, and then we'll bring you live commentary and live timing ahead of qualifying for the British Grand Prix tomorrow. See you in a bit. Welcome back to Silverstone and welcome back to FT Sports coverage of qualifying, which gets underway in about 13 minutes' time. We've got you covered here with live timing and commentary of the session as it goes on. Q1, let's remind you what happens in qualifying. If you're new to Formula 1 or need a reminder, Q1 is 18 minutes long. The slowest 6 cars are eliminated and don't advance. Q2 is the second part of qualifying. That is 15 minutes long, so we lose 3 minutes, and we also lose another 6 cars as a result. So after Q2, the fastest 10 cars in Q2 move forward to Q3, and we get a 12-minute shootout, so we should probably get 2 runs in. Usually we do 2 runs in for the shootout for pole, and then ultimately that determines the top 10, and then it goes through the eliminations of Q2 and then the eliminations of Q1 on the grid tomorrow. So that is the qualifying format, and it gets underway in 12 minutes time now. But let's quickly talk about the importance of qualifying around this track, because we saw it this morning, and we also heard George Russell say it. He said he qualified yesterday in sprint qualifying 5th, and he finished 4th in the race today. And he said, if I had qualified higher, we would have finished higher. Do I agree with that? Yes, because qualifying is really important around this circuit, because if you are fighting with someone for too long, like say you qualified 5th, and your rival, in this case George Russell, qualified 5th and his teammate qualified 2nd, look at the difference at where George Russell finished on the track and how far he finished back compared to Kimi Antonelli. And there was a big difference there. Kimi Antonelli led and won the race and finished about 18 seconds or somewhat ahead of George Russell, very far ahead on the track. It was something like 18 seconds. I'm not sure if it was exactly, but it was a long, long, long way ahead. So, will it always be? Will it be the same tomorrow, where you qualify further back? It's not Monaco exactly, where you can't overtake. But there's some places you can't overtake it because it's too dangerous. You can overtake at Cops, but some don't argue. Some argue you can't overtake at Cops, but we've seen them. We've seen overtakes at Cops in the past. We saw a lot of drivers wanting to send it through Cops today in the sprint, but all of them relatively backed off. There was, I think, 1 or 2 that did go for an overtake there and got the job done. But it's a dangerous place. Look back in 2021, where Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, I think it's George Russell then, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen made contact there, and ultimately Max suffered a 50G crash, or 51G, I'm not too sure. It was a hefty crash. But that's why some drivers are scared of that corner now, because of that incident. I mean, if you looked further on in that race, Hamilton went for another move on Charles Leclerc, and some argued he backed out of it by going off of the track. So there's some places here where you can't overtake, but there's so many overtaking opportunities here. So will it be tomorrow that you can't overtake, and this is where qualifier really matters. Yes, but I'm not too sure. It's not going to be in Monaco, but it's still going to be relatively important. We're going to take a break. We're going to set up our live timing. We're actually going to go for a break, unlike what we did in the sprint earlier. But we'll be back in about 4 minutes' time, and then qualifying will begin shortly after that as we get you ready. Coming up next with live timing and commentary from qualifying here at the British Grand Prix before the race tomorrow, also live on FT Sport. So we'll see you after this very short break. Well, here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. Are you ready to go qualifying at the British Grand Prix? Welcome back to Silverstone as we get ready to set the grid for tomorrow's British Grand Prix here at Silverstone. It hosts round 9 of the 2026 Formula One World Championship. We're here a bit earlier than we would do in the season, but nevertheless, we still love it. 52 laps come tomorrow at a circuit with a length of 5.8 kilometres and 3.6 miles. It was won last season by Lando Norris, but the most wins here belong to Lewis Hamilton with 9. Back in 1950, the first Formula One race won by Nino Farina. The tyres, they are the C3, C2, C1, the hardest tyres in the compound, but expect tomorrow the mediums and hard, the softs though, are going to be all they're talking about today. The sun is shining, the air is hot, the track is hot, and we are ready to go for qualifying for the British Grand Prix. The wind is 5.8 miles an hour pointing west. Track temperature 43.7 degrees Celsius. Air temperature 25.2 degrees Celsius. Humidity 46.9%. No rain at all. The sun is shining. There's a bit of cloud, but there's a bit of cloud. There's no rain. We don't need to worry about that. But welcome everyone, one and all, back to the commentary box. Welcome everyone to the live timing. But if you're joining us for the first time this weekend, you've missed just a little bit of action. We've seen a practice session, we've seen a sprint qualifying, we've seen a sprint race. But if you just joined us, you joined us for the most important two sessions of the weekend: qualifying and the race. Or you could argue it's the sprint, one of the most important ones, because they give points to that one. But we're talking about where they hand out the most points. There are not going to be any points handed out anymore today, because this will decide where everyone starts for the big points race tomorrow. We've got about 2 minutes before the session gets underway, and we start off with the first part of your qualifying hour. Q1, 18 minutes long, and then we move on to Q2, 15, and then Q3, which is 12, as we've already, by the looks of it, got cars lining up at the end of the pit lane. I believe that's one of the Williams, and then the two Alpines and a Haas also going down there by looks on the track map, and a Ferrari. I believe that's Charles Leclerc, because or it might not be moving. I'm not too sure, but we'll keep an eye on everything for you here in the commentary box as it comes. But very exciting qualifying today. We don't know who's going to do it, who's going to take pole, who's going to take the win tomorrow. No one knows anything, but at the end of this hour, we will find out. It was Kimi Antonelli who got the last lap in the sprint race earlier, but up until that point, Lewis Hamilton had been dominating qualifying, so we will find out what happens. He is the favourite to get on pole today, but at the end of the day, who wins it? We don't know just yet. Cars in the garage, cars at the end of the pit lane. Verstappen is in the car. He's just putting his gloves on now. Will we see him out early? We're not too sure. He's 7th in the standings on 76 points, which is not where you would normally see the champion from 2024, 23, 22, 21, the 4-time world champion, 7th in the title race. It's not really in the title race, but we will see come the end of the season. We've got 10 seconds to go until qualifying, and the light goes green. We've got the two Hasses. Oliver Behrman is one of them. And we are ready to go in 3, 2, 1. And your qualifying hour has begun. And it is Bottas, the first driver out on track. And he's on the soft tyres. We're talking about tyres in the build-up to this. And whether drivers, it's tyre allocation on these sprint weekends. So they have enough to do what they want to do. You should hope so, because they should have planned this. But we saw a few drivers use the soft tyres in the sprint. Did it really work out for the soft runners? You could argue yes, you could argue no, or you could just say we don't know, because the soft runners were mainly the Aston Martins, and that car hasn't been good enough, and it was also involved in the collision and then got lapped. So did the Aston Martin Stroll, and so did Perez. So we'll brush over the softs. There is one car that's come out on the mediums, and that is Gabriel Bortoleto, and it looks like an old set. If you are new to the live timing here that we bring you, if you look at their tyre, if there's a stripe going through it, or 2 hours, for example, you look at Bortoleto because that's going to stand out. Look at that line going through, that means it's a used set. So it has been used, and those soft tyres, once they've done about like 3 or 4 laps, they'll also have a line through it. But we are seeing a few cars come out on used tyres, and one of those drivers is Lewis Hamilton going out of the pits. They're definitely used because they don't have the shine on them. If you are watching the actual coverage, not just us here, you will be able to tell whether they're old tyres or new tyres. The new tyres will be shiny when they come out of the pit lane. The old tyres will look just that bit dull, and it's because they've already been used, but that's, of course, what they look like. Carlos Sainz is coming around Club Corner and, almost had a snap of oversteer. We did see Oscar Piastri have a little spin in practice yesterday, but he was able to recover it. Bortoleto on the radio. It is very, very gusty on the start-finish line, just for your information. That's what Bortoleto has just been told. And Carlos Sainz has locked up massively, and that lap for him is ruined. He locked up trying to turn into the corner at Village, turn 3, which is the first real braking zone on the track. And, he messed that up. That's tyre. Are those tyres new? No, they're old, but if they were new, they're long gone. They might as well be old. Maybe even worse than old. But, not a good start for Carlos Sainz there. It's not been the best of weekends for Williams, but Alex Albon said going into the weekend, we've brought a few upgrades in. Maybe we could be the most surprising standout performers. Has it really... Have they been standout yet? Probably not. We are 3 minutes in to qualifying. We've got 14 minutes to go. And we're watching Oliver Bearman as he rounds turn 9, heading towards Maggots and Beckett's. Green sector 1. They're all going to be green now, or potentially purple. But this from Oliver Bearman is looking very nice in Sector 2. And when he does come to the Sector 2 line, it's deemed a purple sector. Perez has set the first lap of the session with a 132.199 being the benchmark for everyone to beat. And they are on new soft tyres. Sainz, with his lockup, would that lap be deleted? It probably will be in a bit for track limits. Ocon now fastest, but let's look at Bearman as he goes around turn 18 of 18 Club Corner, and he goes quickest with a 131.3, quickest by over his teammates by 0.333 seconds. Perez is third, off by 8 cents, and Stroll has just said his lap time, he's 2.5 seconds off of the pace. Leclerc was just on the radio. I did not see that because I was looking at the timing. But Lindblad has decided to abort his lap here and go into the pit lane. So it leaves us to look at Lewis Hamilton, who's purple through Sector 1, and he set a 28.666. That is a 28 through Sector 1. And now he's heading up past the Woodcote, and now he's going into Cobb's Corner. And we saw in spring qualifying the difference Antonelli was compared to Hamilton, as Lawson moves up to P4 of the 5 runners, and Hulkenberg moves up to P2 of those, and he's on the medium tyres, and they're old medium tyres as well, so keep an eye on that Audi. Maybe some big things coming. It was a 31.5, and Bearman had the new soft tyres on. It's a green Sector 2 for Lewis Hamilton, and Leclerc's teammate just goes fastest with a 129.534. So watch Hamilton go into Vale at turn 17, and now around in turn 18 at Club Corner. What will be the first time for the British man? Well, it's going to put him behind his teammate wide 1/10 is the 129.644, and they are on old soft tyres for both the Ferraris as well. It was really in Sector 2 where Charles Leclerc had the advantage over his teammate there, as we're seeing the drivers who set the first few lap times now going to the pit lane. Verstappen will be starting his lap shortly, and Norris has started his as he's just going into Village now, so we'll watch him as he gets the inside curb with a little bit of understeer potentially. The car not turning as much as he would have wanted to, but it's not over yet. There's a little bit of a correction that had to be made as he crosses the first sector line. He'll get a bit of slipstream as he heads into Brooklands, and it's a 10th off Leclerc's best sector time into turn 6. Now Luffield into turn 7, and you can see here on the timing screens we've got mini sectors for all the drivers, so that is how you can keep up with all the times and the sectors where they're improving the most. You see Lindblad set a few purple sectors, but has boxed it, so he aborted his lap, but he was doing well up to that point. Hadjar also doing a few purple sectors. As we look back to Lando Norris, who's going around turn 13 into Beckett's, and now moves on to the straight, and he's still green. It's a green sector 2. He's off by 3/10 of Charles Leclerc. And now he's moving past the Lando stand for the first time on a flying lap in qualifying into Stowe Corner now, turn 15, as he heads down on the run to the final chicane at Vale, and clutches the inside curb on both curbs, and then round 18 gets the outside, get a bit of grass if you need to, and goes up to third with a 1:30.1. Verstappen's going to be next across the line. Into turn 17 into Vale, and then around Club, get on the inside, crosses the line. He's up to 4th fastest with a 1:30.219. Hadjar, his teammate, follows as he rounds the final corner, crosses the line. Where will he go? We've got a yellow flag, and that is not good. That's George Russell, who has stopped at turn 7. Albon and Behrman just passing him now. If George Russell's out of this qualifying, that's a big hit. The yellow flag's still out. Oh, and he's in the wall. George Russell's in the wall. George Russell's off track in turn 7. We'll keep an eye on that. Piastri to the line. He's up to P6. Antonelli to follow. He said a purple sector 2. Will he be able to finish that lap or not? I think Russell is trying to recover it. He is going to recover it. So no red flag unless he doesn't beat you in the gravel. Antonelli rounds the final corner, and Antonelli goes third fastest, up by a 10th of Charles Leclerc, and Russell makes it back onto the track. What happened there? George Russell, his struggles just seeming to continue. He was off track, and for quite a while we just saw him in the bottom corner on the onboard, in the wall. No damage, I think, but I think he used the wall to pivot himself away from it. He's got a lot of gravel, and it looks like a flat spot. And we're getting the replay now of George Russell. So here he goes. Now we go into Sector 2, into Brooklands, about to go into Luffield. Does he spin? Does the car just not turn? Oh, whoa, he locks up. Does he hit the wall? Does he save it? Oh, there's a little bit of a brush. It's just a lock-up. It's like the car just didn't want to turn. Turns it, locks up, and then it's panic mode. The car sliding off, nearly going into the barriers, but George Russell in early trouble here. He hasn't set a lap time yet, and I think he'll go back into the pit lane, which he has. Oh, and we saw Toto. Toto wasn't happy. Toto with a puzzled expression on his face. Interesting stuff. There's Bottas now, just going around, down the straight, going around now Stowe in turn 15, and going to get a few cars that will be fighting to stay out of that elimination zone. So Russell's pitted, so watch him, because he'll have one lap to set it all right, and his confidence will not be certainly the highest after that mistake. As he rounds the final corner, Bottas, where does he put his car? He puts himself 13th, which is not bad at all. Now Albon rounding the corner, the first of the Williams to set a lap time, and cross the line. He goes up to P8. That's a good lap time for one of the Williams that have been struggling this weekend. Behrman now rounding the final corner, and he goes up to P9 with a 1:30.7. Lindblad up to P4. We saw him with a few purple sectors. He got a purple sector 1. Lindblad is up for the chase here. Only 3/10 off Leclerc's time in that Racing Bull car. Hulkenberg next across the line. He's 13th Where does he improve? Does he improve? Yes, he does. He's up to P5. This track must be improving. Ocon, where does he go? Up to P11. He's only with a 130.7, 1.1 off Leclerc. Sainz now moves up to P13, his first lap time with a 131.0. Alonso P19, so it's in that elimination zone. And Perez just moves out of it with a 131.9. So Bottas moves back into it, and they're fixing George Russell's wing in the garage. But wow, that is not what the British man wants early on in this qualifying at all, as Lawson now on a lap trying to beat his teammate who did go really high up the order. Did we expect Lindblad to get P4? We did see him on the lap before he decided to abandon it, get a few purple mini sectors in sector 2. So he was looking really good, and then they just decided to bring him in. Not sure why, not sure for what reason, but he's looking good now as Lawson didn't improve in sector 2, but did improve in sector 1. Will he improve on his time overall as we look at Gabriel Bortoletto in the garage? Around in the final corner, Lawson up to P5. The Racing Bulls have the pace. Wow! And they are quicker than both McLarens and both Red Bulls. So that is something. That is something, because Liam Lawson was only 4 tenths off Leclerc, 0.466 to be exact, and Lindblad was only 0.358 to be exact. So, did the Racing Bulls decide to turn up? Have they brought some good stuff? Well, they must have, because this is looking really good as we are looking at our replay of that George Russell incident where he went off into the gravel. Hasn't set a lap time as a result. And Russell on the radio said, that was very weird. I've never locked up there in my whole career. Well, it happens to the best of us. I would probably lock up. I'd probably lock up at every corner if I was driving these cars. But he's out, and it has forced him to go on a new set of soft tyres. Will we see drivers like Leclerc, Hamilton, those in the 129s come back out? Maybe even Lindblad. Will we see them come out? I don't think so, because you look how far those cars are in the elimination zone off, but it's not that bad because you've got Russell in there who's going to do his lap, so we'll find out what his time will be in a second. And Bortoletto didn't set a time. So then, shall we look at George Russell? Let's do that as he rounds club corner and begins the lap here at Silverstone, his home track, as we go into turn 1. Abbey still, it'll be flat out in this session. Going race day, maybe a bit of lift and coast if you want to save some fuel, or just be a bit safe on old tyres. As he goes into the loop, a little bit of a lock up there, and a bit of the car, a rear end just a bit loose as he goes round 8 tree into turn 5. Overtake mode active, the active aero on the car, and now into turn 6 with Brooklands, and it's not improved through sector 1, 0.095 off. Now that's where he lost it at turn 7, but he doesn't lose it this time round. Now into turn 8 Woodcut, and will the confidence improve maybe after this? You probably think so, as Piastri is improving through sector 1 by a 10th. And by the looks of it, it's by a 10th on Leclerc's time. So keep an eye on that McLaren currently in 10th as well. So he's got to be good in case he doesn't want to get elimination early on in this qualifying session. Russell is 6 tenths up on Colapinto through sector 2. So probably expect Russell to be safe at this point, as Bortoletto just heading out of the garage now after not saying a time in the first few minutes of this session. There's only 3 to go now, so we'll have one chance, and one chance only, as George Russell rounds Vale and round Club Corner. And Russell, where does he go? He goes 5th fastest and splits the Racing Bulls, and that should be safe for the Mercedes driver. And now we look at the McLaren driver, the other team begin with an M on the grid. Round Club Corner, what's he do? It's a personal best in both 2 sectors. Round the final sector, it was another personal best, and replaces Russell in 5th place. So Russell now down to 6 and Lawson down to 7. Verstappen also on a lap, he's improving through sector 1. Antonelli is not improving through Sector 1. They decided to send him back out. They decided not to send both of the Ferraris out. And no, I don't think they are going to come out. There's 2 minutes to go, so maybe keep an eye on those 2 red dots in the pit lane. Keep an eye and see if they start moving. Antonelli to the final chicane. Verstappen is improving through both sectors he's gone through now on Leclerc. Now Antonelli rounds the final corner. Where does he go? Didn't improve at all. 7/10 off. Leclerc with a 30.261 and not the best time from him. But it is only Q1 as Verstappen rounds club corner, gets the inside, crosses the line, and second fastest, not by much at all, by just 0.015. As now Hadjar with a purple sector 2 goes fastest by 2/10 over Charles Leclerc with a 129.276. Now all eyes are on Gasly and the 2 Alpines, Colapinto not that far behind him, but a great lap from Hadjar to put him on the top of the time so far in Q1, but he's still got cars to go. The Ferrari's definitely not going to come out now because there's too little time for them too, so they are not coming out. So you will maybe watch the Ferraris jump down as drivers improve, but I don't think they're going to be eliminated. Maybe keep an eye, but there's a yellow flag somewhere, and I believe it's for Colapinto. It is for Colapinto. He's had a mistake at the S's. What has happened there? The yellow flag's been cleared. So Colapinto's done, and he went off track at turn 13 is what we've seen on the screen. We've not seen how. We might get a replay of that. As Gasly rounds the final corner. Did improve in Sector 1 and Sector 2, but not in Sector 3. Goes up to 12th. Knockout predicted time is a 1:30.3. That is plus minus 0.2 seconds, which would mean everyone in the pit lane now is probably safe. Ocon crosses the line and stays 14th. Which puts him at risk of elimination. Behrman trying to move himself up, does, and puts his teammate further down. He goes up to P13 only. Bottas, barely staying in that zone. P17. Stroll going into the final chicane. Will he get there? Drivers at risk is everyone from P12 down, so keep an eye at that. Sainz is improving. Stroll only goes 20th, so Stroll is out. As Sainz now rounds turn 15, and he is in 16th, so he's on the cusp of the elimination zone. But watch out from everyone 12th downwards. Albon did improve, but didn't move at all, so he's P14. Sainz, though, up to P13 and pushes Bottas down and Ocon one step closer. As Liam Lawson is purple through Sector 1, his teammate is green for all 3 sectors and goes P5. Liam Lawson then rounds the final corner. Will the Racing Bull go quickest at Silverstone? No, he only goes second fastest, but that is not bad at all. By 0.024, the Racing Bulls have gone to play. As the Audi of Hulkenberg is up there as well in P4 at 129.5. This could be a very topsy-turvy grid for tomorrow, as Alonso is out 21st, and he has taken the flag as well. As Bortoleto improves to P12 and pushes Ocon out of this qualifying early. As now Perez rounds the final corner. Can he get himself out? No, he can. He did improve, but not enough, and is out by 8/10. And that should do it. The rest of the drivers coming to the line are Ocon and Behrman, and that will do it for this session as a result. So we've lost 6 drivers in Q1, and well, we could say it could be some of the expected ones. We've lost both Aston Martins of Alonso and Stroll. We've lost Perez, we've lost Colapinto, we've lost Bottas, we've lost Ocon. But the big story is the man who's currently topping the times and the ones that are following him. Hadjar's currently fastest, with Lawson second, and then Leclerc third, Hulkenberg 4th, Verstappen 5th, and Hamilton 6th. But this is what happened to Franco Colapinto. This is why we had the yellow flag, as he went through turn 12. Just did what that was a very jumpy ride. That's maybe some damage there because of the big jump. Colapinto saying, like, I completely lost it flat, completely lost the rear. Engineer said, there's nothing obvious standing out at the moment. There is a bit of wind change, but it's not huge. But yeah, there's certainly damage to that car. It bounced way over the grass at turn 12. It was like what Piastri did yesterday at the S's. but instead of going off into the concrete and saving it from the wall, he went onto the grass and kind of stopped it there. So that's what happened to Colapinto, and he is out. Would he improve? Yes, he would have, because look at the mini sectors. There was even a purple mini sector at the end of that sector 1. But at the end of it all, he is eliminated, along with Ocon, Bottas, Colapinto, Perez, Stroll, and Alonso. When we come back, we move on to the second stage of qualifying, with 16 drivers fighting it to be into the top 10, and then they will fight for pole. But first, we look to Q2. We'll see you after the break here at Silverstone. Welcome back to FT Sports coverage of the British Grand Prix with every session live, and we are here with qualifying, the penultimate actual session of the weekend. We've had practice, we've had sprint qualifying, we've had the sprint race, and they are, I believe we've got a delay to Q2 because there's marshals cleaning up the track where Colapinto went off. Bit of, not debris, but more just grass and gravel, so I believe we have got a delay to Q2 for that reason. I'll quickly just find out if that is true, but looks to be the case because we can't go qualifying when we've got marshals on the track. So Russell managed to progress to Q2 after that earlier loss of the car. Zach Brown speaking says, as far as today, we've been lacking a bit of grip. It's been pretty windy. As he was speaking just before Q2. And we can look at where George Russell went off. Once again, he locks up going into turn 7. And his car just decides to drift into the barriers. Was he good? Was he the best? Probably not. But either way, you look at Colapinto, it's turn 12 and the car just, for some reason, handled it there very nicely. Got a bit of grass on the inside, so had a bit of a wobble before that already, Colapinto. But if you look at it when he goes on his second flying lap, And then what's he do here? Oh yeah, it's just the rear just loses it. And then oh, big jump over the grass. And yeah, so that's why we are not currently going at the moment. The Haas, what happens here? This is the Haas of Ocon, and he sees that plume of smoke in the distance. And there is, I believe, is there yellow flags? Yes, there's yellow. Are they single yellow though? We remember the mistake last weekend with Ocon, not Ocon, with Russell lifting barely and Kimi Antonelli stopping, and he must have lifted a little bit there. Ocon, he is not through. He got out by not by that much, but maybe without that incident, Ocon may have just been through, but very, very unfortunate, and they are still sweeping up that track, and Ocon has now joined and is looking at his lap compared to where he went off. So the big takeaway, though, at the front of the field, though, is that Ferrari are looking good. We'll go on to them in a second, but we're just looking at Ocon again, and he's actually talking through. Although I can't hear him, he is talking through his what he did there, and it's the same thing with George Russell. He had to lift by a little bit, and you see how much he got out by. Finished 17th. It's not by that much. It's about 0.04. It's 400ths of a second, not tenths, hundredths. So that's a very small difference. Sorry. But hopefully we get back soon. We should really in about a few minutes or so. Look at McLaren qualifying head-to-head this season. They're tied 4-4. Currently, the man with the upper hand is Piastri. As this we're looking at Alonso, I believe, and this is almost him making. Is that almost him making contact with an Alpine? No, I'm not too sure. As he went into the chicane, just saw a replay of him almost getting an Alpine. It's also 4-4 at Mercedes. But we'll talk about Ferrari. Let's quickly talk about Ferrari where we've got this short delay because of the debris. The big takeaway at the front of the field is Ferrari are looking good. Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton need just a single run to cruise into Q2. Elsewhere, it's going to take a big comeback from George Russell to compete for pole after a hugely unconvincing start to the session, going off at turn 7. That's really one of the only cars that went off. The only other car that went off was Colapinto, and he's out. As after the delay, we've been told Q2 will start at 4:33 local time, so that is about 5 minutes away. So that's actually a bigger delay than we were expecting, I'd have to say. It's just a bit of debris. I thought we would have just got a race in about 2 minutes time. But Gasly is under investigation, so that's why we saw that. It was actually Stroll, sorry. And Ocon is investigated now for a yellow flag infringement. Because of that, we'll talk about that. We've got a few stuff to talk about. We've already heard a quote from Zach Brown. Why don't we hear him speak in more depth? He said about qualifying so far, no issues. I don't think we are on for pole, but our Q1 times are not representative of our pace. I think by Hungary we have got good upgrades coming. We have good stuff at Spa and Hungary, so that should find us some lap time. We have been lacking grip all weekend. We have been trying to get our top speed better, which we achieved, but we've sacrificed some grip in the process. So just trying to find the right balance, as we've got 3 minutes to go until qualifying resumes. But really, you've got to think, by him saying we're not on for pole, okay, you're not on for pole today, but he's already looking at by Hungary or Spa. Hungary is well, let's find out. Hungary is in fact not that Hungary's in 2 rounds, but Belgium, he mentioned Spa, mentioned Belgium, week on the 19th of July, so that is about 2 weeks' time. So that'll be a good race, to say the least. But if you're already looking to Spa and Hungary, you've got to focus on the race first, I think. So that just shows you McLaren's aims and achievements at the moment in time. So the reason we saw that replay, I thought it was Alonso. In fact, it was Stroll. You never can tell the two apart because it's really hard to tell because they're both in the same car, obviously. But I should have actually known because the helmet was green. That's poor from me. I'm very sorry. But Gasly is under investigation for blocking Stroll. The stewards are looking at Pierre Gasly and whether he impeded Lance Stroll on the way into Stowe. From the replay, Gasly was on the racing line, went on a slow lap, and Stroll was approaching at high speed. So maybe Gasly could be in trouble. And Ocon's early exit, really the Q1 exit was largely caused by Franco Colapinto spinning ahead of him on track. Just got to hope for better luck, obviously. You can't control someone else's driving by making... You can't just jump in the car and fix a mistake. So, unfortunately, he is out. He is also an investigation for a yellow flag infringement. I believe that would be for just being fast through a yellow flag. Keep an eye on that, maybe. We'll let you know if we've got anything, as our timing system has just changed to let you know. We're in Q2 now, and drivers in the just, you can't see them that much. The drivers further down the order with KO next to them, they're out. But Ocon, could he be in trouble for that? Maybe, maybe not. Did he look like he lifted? I couldn't really tell because I was watching a muted stream. But yeah, we'll see what the stewards decide to do. But that is under investigation. We are about 25 seconds away from Q2 resuming. This is what the conditions look like. Wind at 3.4 mile an hour southwest. Track temperature is 42.5 degrees Celsius, which is around where it's been all weekend long. Air temperature has risen now to 25.3 degrees Celsius, and humidity is at 47. Well, that's actually changed now. It's 46.9%, and track temperature has gone down by 0.1 degree, if it really does matter. As the green light is on at the end of pit lane, that means Q2 is underway, with both Red Bull drivers, the first two drivers, out on track. So interesting stuff then, as qualifying resumes here. And do we know who's going to get pole yet? No, we don't. So do we have any clue? Not really. So we will see. But it's looking interesting, as both Red Bull drivers are the only cars out on track. We're not seeing anyone else come out right now, so we'll keep an eye out for that. Verstappen's just past sector 1, and so has Hadjar, so unsure, but we should really get a few drivers out. Both of them on old sets of softs. Looks like they're getting ready at Ferrari. Charles Leclerc coming out, and so is, by the looks of it, Lewis Hamilton. But really, as Verstappen goes into the S's, they're both on olds, so they think they can get through. Well, what did they do in qualifying 1? They weren't the highest up in the order, but they were still safe, so yeah, you won't want to risk anything, but we'll see what they do as Sainz joins the cars out, and we've got a few more cars coming out. Verstappen said, yes, this engine is not responding normal. Could Verstappen be in trouble here? Is he going to pit? No, he's going to stay out, and he might as well go for the lap. So we'll stay on board with Verstappen. Let's hope for him that his engine doesn't give away halfway through a lap, as there's going to be lap traffic coming on in this lap as well. So let's watch as Max Verstappen makes his way towards turn 1 into Abbey, and then turn 2 into Farm, and there's the cars that are coming out of the pit lane into turn 3 Village. He will get a bit of dirty air from these cars, so keep an eye out for that, and see how it affects him, maybe if he goes for a second one in this one, which I believe he would, as we've got 12 minutes 50 on the clock, as he makes his way under the bridge, and now into Brooklands. Purple sector 128.5, but he's the first driver to go through that sector, Hadjar doesn't look like he's going to steal it off of him. As we look on, no he doesn't. It's a 28.664. Look at the mini sectors there. Purple, first 2 purple for Hadjar in fact. And Nakat first 3, so Hadjar doing well as Verstappen goes round Copse and he has to move out of the way of a Ferrari. Not by that much, it was the Ferrari of Leclerc to be exact as they go now into the S's. Hadjar just still looking very good through Sector 2, so Hadjar has looked good through Sector 2 through this qualifying and through this weekend. As Verstappen purple through Sector 2 for now. Hadjar just coming to it now and steals that purple sector off of Max Verstappen. It's a 104.6 currently for Hadjar. As Sainz starts his lap. Hadjar set a 35.941 sector 2 as Verstappen rounds the final corner. Where does Verstappen go? He goes fastest with 129.3, the first drive to set time. Does Hadjar beat him? Let's find out as he goes round club corner. The first time set by Hadjar, crosses the line and doesn't beat Hadjar. No, he does. It did show him up for second for a moment and then switched to first by a good 10th. So the timing board on the screen didn't really want to give him first place there for a second, but in the end does. As a driver about to end his lap. There's no driver about to end his lap. Carlos Sainz is midway through his lap. Lawson has just started his lap. So we're looking with Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. Leclerc just going down the straight after entry, now going towards Brooklands, and he said green sector 1. And he's quicker by Hadjar, with Hadjar by 0.024. Hamilton does the same, not a personal best, not a purple sector, a personal best, but 0.084 up on Hadjar as Lindblad goes purple through sector 1. And that racing ball is looking very, very nice so far today. It was a 28.424 for Lindblad through sector 1 as the Ferrari of Leclerc now going into Maggots and Beckett's round turn 13 heading towards turn 14 and gets a little bit of a wobble as it's green sector 2 for Leclerc again. Sainz sets his lap time. It's a 130.8 and he's off by 1.6 seconds. So will this really be the session where the Williams gives up? We find out. Hamilton set a purple sector 2. Lindblad set a green sector 2. Leclerc goes green. What's he do for this last sector 3? Will it be green giant? No, he won't. He'll be purple and he'll put him to the top. Hamilton follows. Where does Hamilton go? He replaces his teammate at the top with a 128.8. Lindblad now coming to the line. He's looking very nice. Does he go quickest? At his home race for the young teenager, he goes P5. Lost it really all in the third sector. Antonelli on the radio saying, mate, I had no response from the pedal. Okay, copy, we can go again. Lawson goes 6th fastest with a 129.7. Piastri rounding the final corner at turn 18. Crosses the line. He goes 7th fastest with 129.9. Hulkenberg, this Audi has also looked good as he rounds the final corner. Where does he put it? He moves up to P7th with a 129.9 as Russell sets a purple sector 2. He set a green sector 1. And he's coming up to the final chicane now. Behrman is behind him and Norris will follow as Norris has just gone through sector 2 with another green sector for him. So no purple for him. But Russell, where does he go? He goes 2nd fastest by just 0.056 behind Lewis Hamilton. Behrman follows. Where does he go? He's 11th, so still in that elimination zone. So still work to do for the sole Haas driver in this Q2 session. Norris to the line. Where does he go? He moves himself up to 8th. So there was still work to do there for the McLaren Mercedes engine. And Antonelli rounds the final corner. And, he must have made a mistake. So I believe he's going to go for a push up now. So that's why he said he had no response for the pedal. And that's why Bono said we can go again. Gasly goes up to 11th with a 130.1. And the rest of the drivers, Albon and Leclerc, going in. And this is our Antonelli. Did he have something wrong with the pedal here? Oh, yeah, it just went off. Did exactly a carbon copy of what Carlos Sainz did on the first visit to Village of the session. And on the first visit to Village in this session on a flying lap for Antonelli, Antonelli goes wide and locks up. But he's going again and he's set a green sector 1. And now he's moving towards Copse corner. He was aiming to at least get through Q2. Will he still get through Q2? Look at his teammate, George Russell. You believe that Mercedes can easily get through Q2. Question is, will the driver propel it? We'll find out as we go around turn 14. Now down the straight, and he's 6/10 up on Piastri. And if Antonelli does improve, Piastri could be in danger and at the risk of being eliminated here. As we go into the second runs of Q2 very shortly with 7 minutes to go. Antonelli going into Vale now, turn 16, turn 17, about to round turn 18. A little bit of a wobble there from the wheel. Grounds the corner. Where does he go? He moves up to third overall with a 129.0, and that is off by Lewis Hamilton's time by 1/10. But that is looking very good for the Ferrari driver right now, beating the two Mercedes. Maybe it might not be by much, but he's still ahead as he set a 128.864, and that is the best lap time in this session so far. As Russell says on the radio, can you get the spare seat? Which is responded to with yes. Bit of a interesting stuff. So is Russell gonna? He will have to hop out. 6 minutes to go. I don't see him being at risk. But let's be honest, anyone could be at risk in this session. As you look at the likes of Lindblad, Lawson. I mean, Piastri is in that elimination zone. Currently, the driver's in the elimination zone. Hulkenberg, I believe, must have had his time deleted. Piastri's just said on the radio, I have zero grip. So Hulkenberg 16th. Albon and Sainz, the two Williams, 14th and 15th. And we said, would the Williams advance? This is Oscar Piastri going into the chicane on a replay. Goes out onto club corner, and so many corrections had to be made. Went wide and then left, right with the wheel before he could all get it together. And as a result, he's 1.1 seconds off of Hamilton's best time. His teammate is only 2/10 ahead of him on his best lap. So interesting stuff there. The Red Bulls are the first guys out to do their second flying run. They were first out in this Q2 session. So interesting stuff. So do we see Piastri? Could we see a shock elimination here in Q2? We saw one with Ocon, and some drivers some fans would say that's not really a shock. The Haas could easily go out on Q1. Okay, let's throw a spinner in the mix. We put a Mercedes, McLaren. Well, not on the Mercedes. I keep saying Mercedes, McLaren because that's their engine, but if we put McLaren in the mix to be eliminated, which Piastri, maybe Norris, is right now, do we start to think it's going to be interesting? We find out as Verstappen is on his flying lap now, going into turn 3, moves into turn 4, the loop as we go towards him, into turn 5, entry named after the race course, as down the straight with the active aero active on the Red Bull. That big rear wing gap opened up. It's a personal improvement in sector 1, not purple, but by 0.094 through sector 1 as he rounds the corner where Russell went off in Q1, turn 7. Hadjar just rounding that now. It was also a green sector 1 for him, as more drivers coming out now to do their runs. Piastri was the first McLaren, so he's got work to do if he doesn't want to be out, because if he doesn't improve, well, he's definitely out. As Verstappen going through the S's in Maggots and Beckett. Now we go into turn 14 down the straight, and it's another personal and best sector, not a purple, just a green sector, 0.079 up. Currently, could Verstappen pose a threat here to Lewis Hamilton's best time? He's currently in 6th fastest. Hadjar is also doing the same as Verstappen, just a little bit slower, but 2 green sectors so far as Verstappen goes round the final corner. Where does Verstappen go? Does he go fastest? No, he only goes 5th fastest. Hadjar, just a couple of seconds behind him, rounds the final corner, turn 18, club corner, and goes across the line and replaces Verstappen. And he must have done well in sector 3, because really that's where Verstappen had the upper hand through sector 2 on Hadjar and was looking good, but at the end of the day, his team overtakes him. Could they be at risk? I'm not too sure. Verstappen on the radio saying, this is what a disaster. Unbelievable. So Verstappen not happy. But now, all eyes turn to Piastri, as everyone else is really out on track. to do their laps. There's no one else except from Russell, who's in the pit lane, but Russell is coming out now after doing that seat adjustment. The knockout time predicted is a 129.6 plus minus 2 seconds, so keep an eye out for that. That's really everyone from 8th downwards. Also, you could look at Lindblad, but you never do know, as Piastri on his lap, as we're going to see him. There's the Alpine who's weaving and almost gets in the way of Oscar Piastri. Didn't want to do that. That was Gasly, and that's not good from the Alpine, who may be in trouble already. I'm not sure if it's him or a teammate. I'm not sure if it's him or Colapinto who's in trouble there, as Piastri, now it did improve through Sector 1. It was a green Sector 1. It was also a green Sector 1 for Norris. Lindblad with a yellow Sector 1, but still up on Lewis Hamilton's time. So, it must have been a very good Sector 1 for him last lap. In fact, I believe it was a purple sector, as Hamilton is very much improving. He's got purple mini sector, and we're about to see that lap time. That Sector 1, it should be a personal best. It will be a personal best Sector 1, we just can't see it on the screen, as Piastri, personal best through Sector 1 Sector 2. Norris, personal best through Sector 1 and Sector 2. Lindblad just coming up to that Sector 2 line. We'll tell you that when we get it in. It is going to be another, not improvement, but Piastri rounds the final corner, goes up to 7th fastest. Could he be at risk? Maybe not, as that lap kept him safe. Norris, now in 10th. He's got to do something here. Crosses the line, only 9th fastest. Norris might be in trouble here. If Lindblad and Lawson improve, Lindblad's ahead of him, in fact. If Lawson improves and someone else does, well, Norris is in a world of trouble. As Lindblad rounds the final corner, where does he go? He doesn't improve, and will stay 8th as we're into the final minute, and these are the final runs for these drivers. Lawson crossing the line, and does improve, but doesn't move up with a 129.4, and doesn't go up by position by 0.04. Leclerc moves fastest with a 128.6. Does Hamilton replace him as he comes around the final corner? No, he doesn't. He must have backed off, but did go purple through Sector 3 with a 128.864, 2 cents off. The timer just didn't show up on the screen as soon as it finished. 130.5 for Behrman in 13th, and maybe, closingly, looks like Norris is going to be safe here, but don't say it's over yet, with Sainz going across the line up to 14th, setting a 130.6. Bortoletto does improve, but only up to P11, so he's out of qualifying. Albon trying to stay in it. No, he's out, but does improve with a 130.7, but he's out and will be 15th. Antonelli, purple sector 1, green sector 2, and he's the next driver that could put a difference in. Gasly is improving with 2 green sectors. Hulkenberg is up to P12. So it looks like it would be 2 by 2 with the Aldis, as Antonelli goes fastest with a 128.4. Gasly now to the chicane. What does he do as he goes round turn 17, Vale, now into turn 18, club corner, and goes up to 12th fastest only, so it looks like Norris is going to be safe, and he should be safe. Russell is still on a lap, and we're going to see Russell finish his lap, as he goes into the chicane around turn 17, now into turn 18, crossing the line. Where does Russell go up to? Doesn't improve. Doesn't improve. It's a 129.5. And he's off by a good 6/10, so he must have just given up towards the end there. Lawson and Leclerc, both of them pitting, and that will do it. So eliminated drivers in Q2, as Sainz says on the radio, horrible lap, and his engineer says copy. Eliminated drivers in Q2. Albon 16th, 15th for Sainz, 14th for Behrman, 13th Hulkenberg, 12th for Gasly, and 11th for Bortoletto. But after 2, there's 10 to go, and those 10 look like this. Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Russell, Hadjar, Verstappen, Piastri, Lindblad, Norris, Lawson, Lawson. They are going to be the top 10 who fight it out in Q3 after this short break, when we bring you the final stage of qualifying here at Silverstone. Welcome back to qualifying here. We're just seeing replays of Behrman going into the pit lane after being eliminated and waving to the fans. Well, let's be honest, the British crowd love all the British drivers. They love every driver here, maybe except from a few, but nevertheless, it is a good day to be a British motorsport fan, especially a great weekend. In fact, as we get ready to get underway for the third qualifying session. And the fans, like we said, enjoying it. We should get a few more words from Zach Brown coming up very shortly. And as soon as we do, we'll tell you. In fact, we've got the transcript to tell you now. And Zach Brown said, "We don't seem to have it, pace. Both drivers are complaining of just a lot of a lack of grip and not great balance. I think we've got a bit more left in us, but not a lot, unfortunately. Not much we can do. Hopefully, we can do the ideal lap. I think there's a couple of tenths left to come, but I'm sure it's frustrating in the car. It's not a lot more fun to watch from the pit wall, to be honest. But other than that, Q3, is underway, and to start it, all drivers in the pit lane. And in fact, I did say 12 minutes earlier because there's 22 cars. It's another minute, so 13 minutes of qualifying, but don't expect to see anyone come out early in the first, so it might as well be a minute or so, but we still don't know who's going to get pole here. Looks like it could be Kimi Antonelli. Looks like it could be one of the Ferraris. Could be Leclerc. You don't know what might just happen as drivers just in their garage. As soon as the drivers come out, we will let you know. As they look like they're going to get ready at McLaren. Will McLaren be the first drivers out onto the track? It's going to be a race to see who's going to be out first, but that race is short-lived because they give up. Oh, no, they're putting their tyre blankets off. Out go McLaren. Have other drivers followed as other teams followed. Ferrari will follow. Hamilton will be next. He's got to wait because the Red Bulls and there's a few more cars going. But Piastri wins the race and he's first out onto the track, whether you want to win that or not. That's the question. Lawson looks like he's gone out on old softs. I'll let you know all the tyres when they do come out. Piastri, new softs. Norris, new softs. Lawson, old softs. Verstappen, new softs. Then it'll be Leclerc. Leclerc's on the new softs. And the way to tell, like we said earlier, if they're old on new softs, if they have a line through them, like Lawson, they're new. They're old, sorry. If they don't, then they are new. If they're just a circle, they're new. As Hadjar, new softs. So everyone except from Lawson coming out on new softs. Lawson, I believe, was one of those drivers that did use soft tyres in the sprint race. So we'll, of course, have one less set to play with. So whether that is he puts the new set on for his last lap in Q3, that is the question or not, as Antonelli coming out on new softs. And his teammate George Russell will follow. And is that old softs? No, it says old softs. Now it's new softs. It's new softs for George Russell. It's definitely old softs for Lawson. But everyone else on the new softs. And the last car out onto the track will be Lindblad. Is he coming out anytime soon? Is he coming out to play? I don't think he is. Lindblad's just in the pit lane for now. So we'll go on board with Oscar Piastri, who has been struggling this quali. Faced a scare in Q2, but starts off Q3 as the first driver to start a flying lap. As we look on board as he goes into turn 1, Abbey, turn 2, Farm, heading now into turn 3, Village. And a little bit of a wobble with the wheel as Lawson starts his lap. Now in the Racing Bull, Piastri going around the loop of turn 4 and now into the entry corner at turn 5, inspired by the race course, as now Piastri making his way to the first sector line. It's going to be purple because he's the first one there. Is a 28.4. Verstappen just starting his lap now. Norris has also started his, as now Piastri going around turn 7. As he makes his way around turn 8 woodcut. Lawson is green through sector 1 with 28.7, so about 3 tenths off the Racing Bull of Lawson. And now Norris, David Lindblad still in the pit lane. Norris with 28.5, so a tenth off Piastri's time. As Piastri going into Maggots and Beckett's now around turn 12, turn 13, and turn 13 becomes turn 14 as we go into the sector 2 line, and it's going to be another purple sector because he's the first. It's a 104.7 currently so far for Piastri, but that is being trumped by Lawson currently in the middle sector. And Norris is all green through there with a bit of purple towards the end of sector 2. As now Piastri rounding the final corner. It's a green sector for Liam Lawson. About to find out Norris with a purple sector. Piastri rounds the final corner. It's going to go first anyway. It's a 129.2 the benchmark. Lawson will be next around the corner at Club Corner, and I believe is that him going into the pit lane. Yes, Lawson has aborted. Lawson aborted his lap. Norris now going in, and Lawson was the one on the old tyres, so I wanted to see that, but they give up with him in the end. And Norris now rounds the final corner, Club Corner, crosses the line. Does he beat his teammate? No, just by 0.084 seconds. As now, Verstappen, will he beat the McLarens? Will he go fastest? Yes, he will, by just 0.08. Now the first of the Ferraris, as Hamilton's gone purple in Sector 2. And it's fastest for Charles Leclerc as he goes faster with a 128.6. Hamilton, the next Ferrari, will he go fastest? Yes, he will, by 0.029. We're getting into it now. It's a purple sector 3. His purple sector 2 has been taken off of him by Kimi Antonelli. Actually, rounds the final corner. Does he go fastest? No, he goes third by 1/10. Now Antonelli rounds the final corner. Did well in sector 2. What about sector 3? Crosses the line. He goes fastest by 2/10 over Lewis Hamilton. That looks very good. Russell, quickest in sector 1. Green sector 2, green sector 3. He goes second fastest. So far, it is 2 by 2 by 2 by 2 here in qualifying with the 2 Mercedes, 2 Ferraris, 2 Red Bulls, 2 McLarens, 2 Racing Bulls. But currently right now, by quite a bit, by 2/10 over everyone else, the Mercedes R12 and Kimi Antonelli is currently on provisional pole. Wow. And is Hamilton going for it again? No, he just was going by quite quick on his in-lap. Really, though, that is brilliant from Antonelli. It's brilliant for the Mercedes. It just looks like they've shown up. Was there a mistake for Hamilton when he went into turn 3? Does that mean there might be more pace? Did he go off? A little bit of a wobble. Was that one that lost him 2/10? Maybe? Maybe not. We find out on the final flying lap of this qualifying session, and it gets underway and it finishes in 6 minutes, and probably by then we know, as we look in the garage, we see his mum, we see Nicholas. They're all here, the family. They want to see him do well. He did well yesterday, topping every session. Now he's got to work for pole against his former team, as drivers just coming into the pits now. Drivers who look far down the order. Lindblad didn't even come out, and Lawson did come out, but then aborted. So the 2 Racing Bulls don't have a time. Lawson came out on the old tyres as well, but was looking quite nice. He had, if you look at the timing page that you have on your screen right now, you look at the mini sectors, there's green, and there's a bit of purple. So he's not doing that bad overall. But the question is, though, when it matters, will he end the session like that? Like we said, we'll find out in about a few minutes. They'll come out again. David Lindblad putting on his gloves. He should come out in about under a minute or so. Would they want to set him out earlier than everyone else? He's been given a fist bump by one of his engineers. How's 5 minutes to go? Who gets pole? That is the question on everyone's mind. And if you are enjoying this, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're enjoying this so much and you want to come back tomorrow, we've got coverage of the British Grand Prix. Tomorrow, coverage gets underway from 2:15 p.m. with the race getting underway from 3. And also coming up on FT Sport, we've got more highlights from Harewood with more British hill climbing action. This time the July round. We go film that tomorrow morning. That'll be published sometime in the week. And really big weekend here on FT Sports. 4 minutes to go though here. And this is what matters at this moment in time. The British Grand Prix qualifying about to come to a conclusion as the drivers about to go out on their laps. Who will win the race tomorrow? That could be decided here in qualifying today. We saw George Russell saying that if I started a bit higher, I may have just finished a bit higher. But that could all change. He currently right now, George Russell is second, his teammate currently first. It's Mercedes 1-2. They all will go out on new softs, I presume, as the second Mercedes that went out, I believe that's Russell, was held up. Now an almost contact in the pit lane. Whoa, that was big. That was almost massive. As the two Racing Bulls came out and was very sketchy. I'm not sure who was sandwiched between them. And Hamilton stopped in the pit lane, but he's able to go. I believe they were just making a gap. And so is the Red Bull. Antonelli on the radio. Well, that was really close between the Racing Bulls there. That could have been a collision. They might get a fine for that, Racing Bulls. If that is a fine, then I don't blame the stewards. Everyone was watching on a little bit nervous watching that. If that's how Kimi Antonelli goes out in qualifying, you better hope that no one else improves. As this is what the track conditions look like now. Wind is at 2.2 miles an hour, pointing southwest. Track temperature 41.7 degrees Celsius. Air temperature 25.4, so it's gone up by a little bit. And humidity, roughly say the same, 49.6%. We are into the late afternoon. We are at 5:06 p.m. local time. We would have ended a bit earlier, but because of the clear up of gravel, because of Colapinto going off in Q1, we were a bit delayed. So that is why we're finishing a little bit later than 5. As Russell weaving now, trying to get some energy into his tyres. So here we go then. If this is the only bit of qualifying you watch all weekend, you've joined us for the biggest moment. It's the shootout for pole, and Kimi Antonelli starts us off. He's currently on provisional pole after he set a 128.3 on his first lap. Russell is the man he'll have to fend off. Norris just crosses the line behind him as he goes into turn 1. Antonelli enters turn 3. Very nice from him. Now he goes into turn 4, named the loop, as he heads towards turn 5. Entry, named after the racecourse, as they go down the straight. Norris is just going now into turn 4 and turn 5 respectively. Lindblad also one to watch for. That Racing Bull looks like he's got pace, and it's his first lap of this session, as just started his lap. Lindblad just going around turn 4 now. Piastri has also started. Lawson started. And then it'll be Russell, Verstappen, Leclerc, Hamilton and Hadjar. They should all get round. I don't see why not, but it'll be interesting. Antonelli green through sector 1, just like Norris. Lindblad green through sector 1 and not far off Antonelli, as Antonelli enters Maggers and then Beckett's. And then turn 13 becomes turn 14. And then it becomes a straight as we go towards turn 15. And it's a purple sector 2 for Kimi Antonelli. Sprayed in the mini sectors you can see on your screen. Green, yellow, purple. They've got all the colours. There's a 35.5 for him through sector 2. As now Antonelli heads towards the chicane. It was a green sector 2 for Lando Norris. Lindblad's going to approach that, but first, Antonelli approaches the line. Does he improve even more? Yes, he does. By 2/10 more, in fact. It's a 128.111. The timer has ended, but Hadjar did cross the line, so everyone has started their laps. As Norris crosses the line, he goes up to 6 with a 128.8. Lindblad's going to be next to cross the line, and also Leclerc, one to watch for, because Leclerc did set quite a few purple sector one purple mini sector, as Lindblad only goes 9th fastest, 1.1 seconds off of Antonelli. As now Piastri rounds the final corner. He's improved so far on this lap, and he does improve, and he overtakes Verstappen, who's still yet to set his final lap, and he goes up to P7. Lawson sets his final lap, stays P10 with a 129.7, but did improve. Russell, trying to beat Antonelli, crosses the line, doesn't. He's off by 5/10 and didn't improve on that final lap at all. There's a personal best. First 2 sectors for Verstappen, didn't improve in the 3rd sector, 128.8, and goes 7th fastest. Leclerc goes up to P2 and splits the Mercedes, so will be ahead of Russell. But it's all Antonelli to beat, and Hamilton overtakes Russell, so Hamilton's not going to be on pole. Hadjar can be the only one that really denies Antonelli, and doesn't, but goes up to P5 with a 128.7, and we can confirm it now. Kimi Antonelli, the championship leader, is on pole for the Grand Prix tomorrow with a 128.111. When it mattered, this man was absolutely phenomenal in this session. That gap over the rest of the field, commanding. And he was all the way up there throughout the weekend. Practice, second. SQ1, second. SQ2, second. SQ3, second. It was so close. Sprint, first. And here in Q3, and here in qualifying, he starts on pole for the British Grand Prix tomorrow. And the Ferraris really did peak up towards the end. Leclerc second, Hamilton third. It's not where they wanted to finish. They wanted a car on pole, but still technically the best team on the grid. And they also have stopped Russell from making it a Mercedes 1-2 at the front. It is Kimi's 5th pole position now. And the cars making their way back to the pit lane for Parc Fermé. But the big news and the headline is Kimi Antonelli starts the British Grand Prix tomorrow on pole position. And that is where you all want to start, isn't it? That is where you want to start. Indeed. We'll get you all the transcripts of the interviews. We'll get you all the interviews we can before we go off the air this evening. As he tapped the car. And when we come back after the break, we'll get you all the transcripts of the interviews that we can from the pole sitter and the men that start behind him. We'll see you after this short break. Kimi Antonelli, though, on pole for the British Grand Prix. Welcome back to coverage of qualifying here on FT Sport, where we know where Kimi Antonelli will start the race tomorrow on pole. And a reminder, the race is live tomorrow here on FT Sport from 2:15 p.m. This is only provisional grid because there might still be a few investigations for potential impeding, unsafe release, but that was by Lindblad. That will probably be a fine for the team. But let's tell you the provisional starting grid for today's race tomorrow. So eliminated in Q1 basically. 22nd will be Stroll, Alonso, then Stroll, Perez, Colapinto, Bottas, and then Ocon. And then following on from Ocon, it'll be Albon, Sainz, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Gasly, and Bortoletto. And then it'll be Lawson, Lindblad, Piastri, Verstappen, Norris, Hadjar, Russell, Hamilton, Leclerc, and Antonelli. But really, will it be Antonelli that wins that race tomorrow? We don't know yet. You're going to have to join us tomorrow for that. We're going to hopefully leave you off the air with the interviews by the drivers that after they do from qualifying. Of course, we can't obviously play that because it'd be copyright, so we're just waiting for the transcripts to come in to us here at FT Sport, and once we do, we'll read them out to you like we have done after every session. And then in tomorrow's build-up, we'll tell you of the all the other drivers' thoughts from qualifying that we didn't tell you, as Madueka Okoye, which, can I be honest, I don't know who he is, presents the pole position award to Kimi Antonelli. This is what Kimi Antonelli had to say after qualifying on pole for the British Grand Prix. He said, a bit stressed because I never like going first in the last run. The last lap was very tardy. I have to be honest, it came all together. It was very tricky with the wind because it was very gusty and unpredictable. But we built our way through qualifying to bring the pole home is very satisfying. We didn't change the car at all, just differential brake migration, driving. We worked around it and managed to find good settings that helped me to progress through qualifying. Now, what he's talking about towards the end is that the Parc Ferme rules, they changed recently. Not that recently, but they've changed so the drivers can make changes to their cars. The teams can make changes to the cars after the sprint race before qualifying, and then when they go out first in qualifying is when they go into Parc Ferme again. So, yeah, well done to Antonelli, who's qualified on pole. We'll wait for the other transcripts to come in. And just as I say that, this is Charles Leclerc after qualifying second for the British Grand Prix. He said, "Yes, I'm pleased. It's been a few tough races where the feeling was not quite right, where I was struggling to put everything together. On the Sundays, we've had things that have stopped us scoring points. So to be back with a good feeling, there's been so much work behind the scenes to get back that feeling inside the car. But today is probably the first time where I had it back, so that's a good thing. But at the same time, I know how much I've struggled to be consistent recently, so it's only the beginning, but it's a good step in the right direction. At the moment, I'm obviously trying to look at a bit of everything because I was losing quite a bit of time. I just didn't have much pace recently. So you've got to look at every single other thing you do, whether it's driving style or everything really. We've worked, I think, really well, and I'm happy with that P2. I wish I was on pole, but Kimi did that incredible lap, and he deserves it. So, interesting stuff there said by Leclerc. And yeah, to be out-qualify Hamilton, did we really expect Charles Leclerc? Honestly, do we really expect Charles Leclerc to out-qualify Lewis Hamilton? Probably not, but at the end of the day, he has. So, well done to Charles Leclerc on that front. And he's pleased with a step in the right direction. We'll hopefully hear before we go off the air with Lewis Hamilton's transcript. But to remind you of our coverage tomorrow, we're live from 2:15. We'll recap qualifying, we'll recap the whole weekend, and then we'll preview the race. And the race will be live with exactly what you've seen today, with live timing, driver tracking, and commentary throughout the whole 90-minute spectacular here at Silverstone. That is the British Grand Prix, and it always proves to be a good race. I mean, look at the sprint race earlier. We had back and forth action. Surely it's going to be the same for the next 52, for another 52 laps tomorrow. We had 17 of them. Let's have 52 laps of that, please. Just waiting for Hamilton's transcript to come in now. So just a reminder, if you are enjoying this, please like and subscribe. It really does help us out. And who knows, we might be back for more F1. If we really do like it here on FT Sport. But really, been a great weekend. And talking about weekend, let's talk about Lewis Hamilton, as we've just been given his transcript. Speaking after qualifying third for the British Grand Prix, he said, "I'm happy to be up here. Both these guys, Antonelli and Leclerc, did a great job. Charles has been making good improvement, and we just didn't have the pace of the Mercedes, which has been a thing for a while. But we are slowly closing the gap, and to have both of us up here is great for the team. And then on whether Ferrari can win tomorrow, it's definitely great to have both of us here. Whether or not we can fully keep up with Kimi, we will see, but hopefully we can play with a strategy and work as a team to try to topple them. We will do our best, for sure." That sounds interesting from Hamilton. Could it be a Ferrari win tomorrow? You never know. At the end of the day, it could work. We're going to say thank you so much for watching. Before we leave, let's tell you what's coming up on FT Sport this weekend. Big weekend continues with big action. Tomorrow, we've got live coverage from the British Grand Prix from 2:15, race start 3 p.m. Also in the morning, we're recording from Harewood Hill Climb, and the highlights of that will be posted on FT Sport throughout the week, so keep an eye out for that, as it's the British Hill Climbing Championship July round there. And then we've also got endurance racing action tomorrow night with a live driver cam of the Romula Endurance Championship on board with the Latos Racing 52 car. The Romula Endurance Championship at the Daytona at 2.4 hours. Race starts tomorrow at 6 p.m. So it's a big day of sport. Don't miss it, because it's going to be fun. Also, before we let you go, happy 4th of July to everyone in America. Happy Independence Day. Happy 250th birthday, America. And with that, we say goodbye here from across the pond here at Silverstone. And thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you, hopefully, tomorrow for the Grand Prix. Until then, goodbye.